It's a little bit of a different setup from the last time we did this, right?
Oh yeah, man. You had a couple mics, and I think maybe the same recorder, but it was a shadier
Yeah.
setup.
Dim lighting in your room
Right?
too.
Yeah,
Your bed not even made, just like scroll down. My guy Matt Pavich here. We had you on the pod. I think that's the last time I saw you too, bro.
That was a long time ago.
2019, before COVID. It
Before COVID. Yeah.
was in the summertime.
Yeah, and I was talking about making an album, and here I am. Album out for the
Yeah.
whole world to see, baby.
Number one on iTunes,
It was number one on iTunes for a couple days. Thank you.
Let's
Thank
go.
you. It's called Wednesdays at Bellevue. It was dope. The whole process was really, really fun.
I'm a massive fan of stand-up.
Uh-huh.
It's like one of my favorite, I don't even want to call it a guilty pleasure, but anytime I'm bored,
Yeah.
I'll just go on Netflix, I'll go on YouTube, I'll put something on.
Yeah.
I had your stuff pumping too. I've listened to it twice.
Thank you, man.
Loved it.
I appreciate
The
it.
Queen's thing is hysterical, and it's so true.
Thank you. I mean, it's all based in truth. So if people come at me, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. That's real life.
Yeah. It was really cool, man. And the one thing that I learned from you, well, first time I spoke to you, you were like, well, I asked you, how long does it take to do a set, like an hour set? And you were like, 2 to 3 years maybe. And I was like, stop, really? And you're like, yeah, bro. Take me through that process of.
I mean, I put out 45 minutes of material on this album, and that took me, I've been doing comedy, like really going at it for like 12 years. So, I mean, that was all of my good jokes. I mean, I threw away a lot of stuff that I was like, this is not me anymore. You know, this doesn't really make sense. Current event stuff, obviously, I tried to stay away from. But like, yeah, it took me over 10 years to get 45 minutes of material that I was like, yeah, let's put this on a tape and let it live in the world forever.
So, like, when you're doing these, like, tracks, right, which that's the first time I ever listened to a comedy album. Like, I've seen, like, an actual stand-up and whatnot. But how much of that is recorded around the same time?
It was all one show.
Oh, really?
It was all one show. Well, it was two shows, same night. I did a 7 o'clock show and a 9:30 show. So 2 different audiences. I ran the same material. I used like 80% of the first show, and I fucked up like one joke in the first show. So I was like, let me just make sure I get that on the second show. And I completely forgot like a 2.5 minute joke on the first show too. So I was like, let me just make sure I get those 2 and then just have fun on the second show. And it was awesome. I did it at New York Comedy Club. Pinch Records, which is a record label, got behind me and produced it. And then I just cut it up into tracks so that you can listen to it like track by track on Spotify and Apple Music and what have you. And it's available on iTunes and Amazon Music. It's cool nowadays that you can just like put shit out basically yourself. I mean, I have a label behind it, but like they're like a small like label, and like DistroKid, you can just put it on every single streaming platform, just like that. It's cool.
Yeah, it's very similar to like content creating now for me, even in sports. Like, you have, like, I'm with Blue Wire and whatnot, but most of the stuff outside of just like being under that umbrella, everything is done on my own. Like, as far as like cutting up the clips and whatnot. Now I've started fucking with the with like captions on videos. Which is a big part of it, like with the algorithm and whatnot.
I know.
It sucks because I do them on my own, so I like manually go through it. Oh yeah, that's exactly it.
Same with stand-up. And I was like against the captions for a long time because a lot of people, they'll just do automated captions and you could see the punchline before the punchline. And I'm like,
it defeats the purpose,
this isn't
right?
even stand-up anymore. This is like some weird new art form of like, you know, video. I don't know what to call it, but so I was like very particular about, I do my captions myself also. And instead of just doing captions, I do like graphics. And I just put a title up there, and then I make sure that like the punchline is hitting at the same time as what I'm saying, so that it doesn't. Because if you see the punchline, you know, even 2 or 3 seconds before the punchline, it's like, oh, I don't know.
It's not as funny.
It ruins the bit.
I was watching some show on Netflix and I had the subtitles on.
Yeah.
And then I left it on when I started playing a special.
It's not good.
I was like, oh, this is horrible.
Yeah.
I was like, no, we got to get rid of this right away.
And my girlfriend loves captions, dude. She can't watch anything without the subtitles. And it's now that I always watch stuff with subtitles, you get addicted to the subtitles.
Yeah.
And like some shows like Peaky Blinders, obviously you got to throw on some
right because of the heavier accents and whatnot. Yeah, for sure. No, that makes sense. I was actually I posted about it yesterday how I'm watching this show, All of Us Are Dead. It's like this Korean show on Netflix. It's awesome.
I haven't heard of it. Yeah,
bro. So it's basically like it's crazy the parallels between like COVID and the pandemic and what this show is like showing.
Okay,
it's wild. So it's like it's this high school and there's a zombie apocalypse outbreak that starts from there.
Love it.
And it's like a rat that bites one person. And, back then it was the bat and shit. So it's like the parallels are crazy. And then they show like how the media influences people, how people are turning into each other and shit.
Yeah, they make it political.
It's crazy. So I'm watching that and I'm trying to edit. Mind you, it's in fucking a different language. So I have the subtitles there. I need them.
Obviously.
So, dude, I'm editing for like 20 minutes and I just look up and I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck just happened. Yeah. So I had to rewind. I'm like, yo, it happened to me one time. The original time it happened was with Narcos.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm listening. And in Narcos, they have like 10% of every episode is in English because of like the DEA agents.
Yeah.
But mostly it's in Spanish. I don't know Spanish. So I'm like, what the fuck just happened? So I have to rewind.
Yeah, you can't eat while you're watching subtitles either. No, that's another thing. Like, you look down to fucking scoop some cereal into your mouth and you look up and you're like, I don't know. Where's this guy come from? Yeah. So like subtitles, I don't know if they're ruining the game or helping the game, but it's good for the algorithm, Nick.
Yeah, that's exactly it, dude. And is that something that you've noticed that your stuff gets pushed more because they got captions, or have you not seen any difference?
I have seen a little bit of a push, but like it's hard to tell because like I just put this album out and like I'm putting up clips from the album, and they're doing well. Reels is a sweet spot.
Reels is a sweet spot now.
So I'm trying to make everything a minute long, which sucks because some of my bits are like 2.5 minutes, and it's like, do I cut it in half and then post like part 2? And I don't know. I'm still figuring all that stuff out. Yeah. I'm gonna drop the whole album on YouTube, and because I shot everything, the whole video of the album in order
as like a special.
Like a special, yeah. So I'm supposed to drop that on the 18th. So. That'll be cool.
Of this month?
Of this month.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to release this episode around that time too.
Yeah,
then.
Perfect. 2 days. Yeah.
Dude, where did the inspiration for this special come from?
So I'm bipolar 1. I don't know if you know a lot about bipolar.
No, but I do know that you were a wild boy growing up.
Yeah, I was a wild boy. Yeah, I had some manic episodes in my 20s. You, I think, witnessed one when... we played in like a 1-day football tournament.
Yeah.
And I was manic. And that's what bipolar is. I have like manic episodes where like my mood is elevated. Everything that I think is incredible. I think I'm like super talented and like the next best thing and everything.
You are a stud. You're a lockdown defensive player in flag football though.
I am very good at football when I'm manic. Yeah. I don't know if there's any correlation between... But I play good defense, buddy.
Yeah.
And I catch. I caught. I'll never forget the pass that I caught on that game-winning drive. That was a crazy catch. I don't know if you remember. It was like over the middle of the field. We're in a no huddle. I don't know if it was the
I'm a big no huddle guy.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like plays at all. I want to go, baby.
I know. Backyard football shit. And I made this crazy catch on the floor.
And and that's why you remember it, because I sold you out. I had to make it more difficult for you.
No.
You're just shitting on me on my own show.
No. It was right here, and I should have caught it easily one, but the defender was like right there. It knocked it out of my hand a little bit, and I caught it like this on the floor. And like we didn't even have time to celebrate how dope of a catch it was.
It was like, yo, we gotta
go. Yeah. But I remember afterwards you came out to me and you were like, that was a huge catch, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. It was dope. The point of the story is I'm mentally ill, and I'm having a manic episode. And you guys don't know me well enough to like understand what's happening. You just think that like I'm on drugs or something. I don't know what you guys were thinking. But I was talking a lot. I'm loud. I chain smoke cigarettes. I'll do any drug available. It sucks. And then I crash, depression, brain fog, can't get out of bed, that type of shit. And I've played football when I'm depressed too. Not as good, buddy. Let me tell you, I'm not as good at football when my brain is not working. I don't want to be there. I'm like, none of this matters. Who cares?
I want to also paint the backdrop. Like, we've known each other for a very long time. You were always a part of the older crew in my neighborhood. Like, the guys, like, Vinny was the reason why I started playing quarterback at Bryant. True story. I've told him, and now he's the coach there, which is really cool. But I remember when he graduated, you're 33? 33, yeah. I'm turning 31 in March. So you guys have always been like 3 years older than us. And so like you guys are always the older crew. And I remember when I was in high school, I was a soccer guy growing up, but I always played like at 48th Street Park. We would play and shit, like down 20th Avenue and shit. Yeah, the dumps. Yeah. So that's how we knew all of you guys. And I remember one time Vin came up to me when he was graduating. He's like, yo, they need a quarterback, bro. You should play. And I was a sophomore, having never played football at all. I was like, dude, I'm awesome at ICYP and like in the streets. Like that's a different, playing organized high school football is completely different. And Brian at the time was really good. Like Vin had just went, I think 6-4 and then 7-3.
Yeah.
And that team was like, Vin was like the only guy that graduated from that team. Well, like basically everyone was sophomores and juniors. So they had a really good team. He's like, yo, bro, I'm telling you, go. Like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So he put in the work for me. I started training, whatever. Then I become the quarterback. But I always we always grew up together. You guys were always like the older heads. Like Spam is my guy. Guzzy's still playing Xbox with them and shit.
I know. Yeah.
I'm
in a group chat with all of them.
Yeah,
still,
I see Pete every day because he's at the Rock and I go there and working out and shit. So I just wanted to paint the backdrop that like we've known each other for a long ass time.
Since I'm like 13, 14, probably at ICYP is when we started playing together. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's like
it's almost 2 decades.
Almost 2 decades, yeah. MFA versus Chop City.
Yeah, and then I became Chop City.
And then you became Chop City. Yeah. Those are Those were the names of our teams.
Our teams, yeah. Dude, so these episodes that you would have, right?
Yeah.
How long would they last? Like, how long were you happy? How long did you like crash and get depressed? Because I spoke that ad nauseum about like mental health and stuff, and like I went through some shit in like 2018 where I was going to become a cop for Nassau County.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that because it was more so I was being sold on it from like my family. Like, oh, job security and it's a prestigious job and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I got disqualified for doing a 70 and a 50.
Holy shit.
Coming home from work. And I was in the van too. So I wasn't in like a Corvette or a Beamer being like, oh, some young fucking punk
you're in a work
just
van.
Flexing in his car. It's like, nah, I'm coming back.
I'm trying to go home.
Yeah, I'm trying to go home.
Yeah.
So I get pulled over on the Grand Central and I get a speeding ticket. Had a PBA card. Young buck though, did nothing. Was like, nah, I don't want that shit, whatever.
Yeah.
So that
you get disqualified from even
Bro, that cost me close to $20,000. Because I was fighting it with lawyers and retainer fees to overturn the disqualification.
So that you could...
So I could go through the process. Like, I met with my investigator. I placed really well on, like, the placement tests and shit. And when I met with my investigator, like, everything is, like... The only thing I do is, like, drink. And I don't even drink crazy like that, you know? Like, on occasions and whatnot. But had never done any drugs, never smoked any weed. And when I got disqualified, all my friends were like, yo, bro, the fact that you got disqualified, that's like crazy.
That is crazy.
You're so clean cut. Yeah, you drink some beer and whatnot, but compared to like other shit.
Yeah.
So I do a 70 and a 50. Reckless driving record was what I get disqualified for. I pay thousands of my own money to fucking do something I didn't want to do anyway. Bro, when I got disqualified, I swear to God, I was like, cool. Like,
weight off your shoulder.
Weight off my shoulder. You guys can't tell me I got to do this thing, even though I didn't want to do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, what can you say now? My uncle's a cop. My other uncle's a cop. My aunt married a cop.
Yeah.
Different side of the family. And it's like, there's cops all over my family. Oh, we could get this overturned, fight it with a lawyer, shit like that. Now I'm dumping my own money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm living at home, but it still sucks.
20 racks is no...
Trying to save money because I'm trying to figure out what my second part of... That was like my plan B. My plan A was always to get a food truck.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, this $20,000. Maybe I could ask grandma for some more money to, put a down payment on a truck. So I get fucking disqualified. And then my family's pissed off. They're pissed off at the lawyer. They're pissed off at me. I'm doing the podcast. I'm lying to people on the podcast originally with the guys I used to do the show with because, like, I just didn't know. I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
And this is all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I couldn't also commit to it full time because the cops were like, yo, if you go into the academy, there's like an 18-month probation. You can't be on social media.
Yeah.
You're on social media because of your fucking comedy career and shit.
Yeah.
Could you imagine taking 18 months off?
No.
Especially now at this stage in your career. If you're Dave Chappelle, you're fucking Kevin Hart, you could go on a hiatus.
Yeah.
And then come back and you're selling out the Garden and shit.
Yeah.
But like coming up,
no,
that's career suicide.
Yeah. Pivotal. And I hate social media. I really do. I think it's the devil. And I try and spend as little time on social media as I possibly can for my mental health. Like I think on days that I limit how much I'm on Instagram, I feel way better. Like a noticeable difference in my mood. And on days where I'm just like scrolling, bored, I have nothing going on, and I just scroll, I'm just like I close my eyes and I like see like a feed still going because that's how long I've been on the phone, and I'm just like, wow, this is poisonous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm always fascinated. That's one of the like main staples of these kind of conversations that I have is like your relationship with social media, especially someone like you who you're like trying to build a career and you're building a career, and a lot of it is because of social media. Like people need to see you, people need to see your bits, your stand up, all that.
That's different. Posting like with a purpose is what I try and say is good. Part of my issue is that when I'm manic, I post everything on social media. I post my whole life for everyone to see, and it's not good. I'm like I'm literally out of my mind, and I'm posting nonstop. You know when someone posts so much that it's like little dots at the top?
Yeah. It's like the LeBron birthday thing. You ever see those? It's like, oh, it's LeBron's birthday, and it's just like hundreds of dots across.
Yeah. That's how much I'm posting. So I have this weird, like, I don't know if it's trauma or like fear that I'm going to think my family thinks I'm manic or whatever. But like every time that I post, and especially around the album, I was posting a lot. I was like, I need to chill out a little bit because this is a red flag for my mental health. So I don't know if that is part of it, but I don't know, man. I hate social media.
Yeah, it's such a weird balance for me.
Yeah.
Because there'll be times where I'll pull up. Now I have two phones.
Yeah.
Because I use them to record, right? I just got a new phone, and I just use this now. It's basically an iPod.
Right.
Or an iPad, I should say, right?
Yeah.
iPod,
small,
talk about though.
Tiny little iPad.
But now I just use that as a recording device, right? So I'll find myself on my phone sometimes for like an hour, and the hour just breezed by.
Yep.
And I've done nothing. I forgot why I even went to it.
I know.
Like how you said, going with a purpose. I got to promote this episode. Got to do this.
Totally different. That feels good.
That feels great.
Yeah.
But there are times where I go on Instagram with those intentions, and then I'm like scrolling through my feed, and my feed is all jiu-jitsu, wrestling, NFL wide receivers running routes, Instagram chicks, food. Like that's my entire like feed.
Yeah.
And then I'm there for an hour and a half, and I've done nothing, and I feel miserable.
I know, dude. It's an incredible time suck. And then you throw TikTok in there.
Yeah.
Woo! TikTok will get you for a good hour, no problem. Your brain turns to mush. You don't even know what you just saw. You're like, this is crazy. And then they're taking down some of my videos because they're like inappropriate or whatever. And then there's a fucking 19-year-old girl deep throating a banana. And you're like, this is allowed? You're allowed to have this on Instagram? On TikTok, but I can't post a clip of me saying fuck. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what the algorithm is, but it's nuts, dude.
Yeah, you can't, because I have a friend of mine who runs the VM TikTok, so I basically just sent him all the clips, and he does, because he's built his own brand. Shouts to my guy Alex. He does like sports content in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
So he's been a fan of the show for a long time, and he reached out to me. He's like, yo, I would love to get involved. And he sent me his TikTok, and I'm like, yo.
Looks great.
Looks great. Would you want to control the VM TikTok, right? He made the account, the whole nine. And I send him the clips. And I sent him one of the clips where Impy and I are cursing. He's like, yo, just a heads up, the TikTok algorithm won't like that. Try not to have curses.
Yeah.
So now I've been doing these like narrative bits where like I'm kind of just like I'm sitting there in front of the white screen and I got the two cameras and I'm like transitioning from one camera into the other, and it allows me to stop and start and sort of like
edit.
A lot of comedy aspect to it where I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm giving you the punchline when I look away. And then I switch and go back to like the different talking point. That's what
smart.
That's what I'm doing now, and it's helpful with the editing and whatnot. But in those, he sent me like bleep animations to include into it. So when I say fuck, only for TikTok.
Yeah,
it's wild.
But then some of the stuff do you watch some stuff on TikTok?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like graphic. Like,
yeah, it's craziness.
And I'm like, this has 2 million views.
Yeah.
And TikTok loves this. So what are they actually, they don't care.
They have no idea what they're doing. It just seems like whatever
works.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
Whatever song is going viral. Like I've seen one where it's like, oh, having trouble going on viral on TikTok, use this song.
And put it on mute, right?
And, no, not
put
even that. They'll just have the song and then the girl will be in a bikini on the beach.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, that's why your fucking videos
that's why you're here. Yeah. They someone told me you can take a popular sound and then put the video the audio all the way down to 0 and just have that and it'll help boost. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Come on, like me because I'm funny. Don't like me because you know what I mean?
Cheating the system.
I'm not trying to cheat a system here. It's crazy. It's wild.
Yo, how is doing stand-up nowadays?
It's great. Stand-up's in a little boom, I think, because people want to go and hear things that are a little risque, maybe, things they can't say at the water cooler that they agree with, you know? I'm having fun. I'm having a great time. I'm not really like a super risky, but, you know, I say some shit that I guess is, you know, taboo. I'm talking about mental health. That's not exactly like the most talked about, right. Or like people. You can feel the audience tighten their little buttholes sometimes when I bring it up because you know everybody knows somebody that's affected by mental health and mental illness, but like for some reason it's like we don't talk about cousin Jim or whoever it is. You know, it's like that's fucked up.
Yeah,
person's going through it.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like with generations, it's still like our generation now, the under 40s are more likely to talk about it. Yeah. Whereas like, you know, growing up, you had like a cousin or an uncle who would like kind of be a little off, right? Yeah. And it was always like, oh, don't worry about Bob.
Yeah. Don't
worry
about
Mike
Bob.
Is okay. It's cool. You know?
He's an alcoholic. And it's like, is he an alcoholic or is he suffering from, you know, PTSD?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Do you think that's maybe a good side of social media?
Because
I think a lot of this momentum has been because of social media and people talking about it.
I think that's a big part of it. I think going back to TikTok, there is a huge mental health TikTok push that I think is good. I think it's a little scary that, you know, people without the knowledge or the training or whatever are being put on this pedestal of like mental health advocate. People are like, oh, you're an advocate. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just somebody that
you're talking from experience.
Yeah, I'm just saying what happened to me. Don't. And then like people reach out to me. Oh, it sounds like you're doing so much better. What meds are you on? And I'm like, I don't really want to say what meds I'm on
because it might not work for you.
Because it might not work for you. And like, I'm not out here, you know, trying to push meds on people. Whatever. This is what works for me. And like, I don't want to give you false hope. Like, it took me 10 years to figure out the right medicine that works for me. And like, who knows how long that's even going to last and work for me, because these meds, sometimes your body develops an immunity and, you know, not an immunity, but like gets used to it and you have to up the dose. And so it's tricky. It's tricky. Even I have a small following of people that are asking me these questions. I can't imagine some of these big TikTokers. Some of them are like 16, 17 years old. And people are
asking them for life advice.
Life advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they just found out they have this mental illness, you know? So that freaks me out a little bit. But I think overall, like the fact that people are talking about it and feel more comfortable to talk about it, that's huge. And I think you're right. We're in like the in-between generation of people being like, yeah, we don't talk about that. Like our parents definitely don't talk about that. Like therapy, you know, that's like a new wave.
Yeah.
Like my parents would never, like they're like, oh, you still doing therapy? Like my mom understands it. My dad is sort of like, is that working? Like,
dad stuff though.
Dad stuff.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing though. That's a different generation, dude. And the thinking
totally
was just like,
different generation.
Yeah. You know, I remember when I told my dad, I was just like, yo, Dad, I'm kind of going through some stuff and, I'm a little depressed right now. He's like, depressed? I've been depressed for fucking 45 years now. You're telling me about depression? He's like, man up, bro. But that was how my dad would approach things, right? My mom was a little bit more different, mama's boy and all that. I get that. But also, like, the mom is a little more coddling to those kind of situations.
Yeah.
One thing that we kind of got sidetracked just a little bit, but what I meant by, like, stand up in like 2022 is there's a lot of things, like you said, taboo, or certain things that you can't say. People get crazy, and I don't even want to say about like cancel culture, but I just mean like your comedy, you're not super like risky, but you are also staying true to like you.
Yeah.
So how's that balance like? Because I'm always fascinated by this.
Me too, man. And I wonder, there's a lot of shit going on in the comedy world, the podcast world right now that is, it's a strange landscape for sure. But I think really what it comes down to is like, is it funny? Like,
that's what the comedian thinks, or that's like the culture of comedy.
Yeah. Like, do I think this is funny? Do my friends that are comedians fuck with this bit? Then I'm gonna say it and I'm gonna do it. Of course, there's gonna be some people that are like hyper sensitive, and it upsets me when sometimes people come up to me after a show and be like, "I thought you were so funny until you did this," and I'll ask them, I'll be like, "Why did you take offense to that?" And they're like, "Well, I am so and so, and that affected me," and I'm like, "Yeah, but you realize the other stuff may have affected people as well, but they're not complaining because I'm talking about all sorts of different groups of people, and I'm just trying to."
Everyone's getting the bars.
Not even like bars. I'm not like out here being like.
No, I know, but everyone's sort of getting.
I'm talking about the world,
right?
And it's weird to be affected by one specific thing because it's close to you, but think everything else I said was funny because that didn't affect you. It's like, did you think it was funny or not? If that one joke didn't land for you, okay, I'm gonna be on another joke in a couple seconds. I didn't say anything like egregious. I didn't say anything out of line. I said something that I think is funny, and you can either be on board or not.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. At its core, a lot of people always get triggered by things that are close to them.
Yeah.
But when it's for, you not attack, but you make a joke about someone else.
That's funny
like,
to them.
It's cool.
Yeah. So why?
It's weird. It's funny how like the only heat I've ever gotten is like with fans when I like slander their team. So I'll get those kind of messages like, yo, I loved your podcast, loved your take on the Bills, whatever. But when you started talking about, like, why do you think the Broncos are going to be bad?
Yeah.
And then I'll tell them, like, oh, you got a new quarterback, new coordinators, new offensive line. I don't know how it's going to mesh. It's a COVID year, whatever it might be. Fuck you, man. You don't know what you're talking about.
Same thing. It's
funny. It's like once you start, not even attacking, but you start
criticizing
giving like stats in the sports world or facts or your opinion on why you think a team is going to struggle. It's like, fuck you, man. You don't know shit. You're like, all right, I guess that's just how it is now.
Yeah, it's an opinion or like a joke that I'm saying about a topic that it doesn't really even affect you. You just feel affected by it because you are in the way of it, or I don't know. I hope that made sense what I said, but who knows.